reset, rethink, educating the next generation. But what if the next generation happens to be us? The world's changed, everyone says that. It keeps changing, it's been changing for ages. But look, organizations, they can't learn. Institutions can't learn, governments can't learn. The only things which can learn are you, people. And they're all grown-ups. The people who are making all the decisions and deciding what we should do with the world, we're all grown-ups. We hear inspiring stories from the youngsters, but what about us? How are we going to learn? What do we need to learn? And that's why I want to try and take you on a journey to try and discover. We've got to understand, I think, how to make adults, grown-ups like us, want to learn, become curious about learning. And then we've got to think about, because most of you are in organizations and institutions, businesses, am I right? We've got to think about how do we use this in our organizations to transform our organizations? How do we make it something better, rather than just continuing with what we've always done? And the third thing, as John said, is I'm going to try and mix in a little bit of what I've been trying to do. So that's the plan. That was my plan. I made it before I met you. So now, please, for me, I want you to imagine the next 9 minutes is brilliant. You learn stuff about, I don't know what it is, but it's fantastic. It makes it the best 9 hours of the last time. In fact, the best 9 hours of Zeitgeist. What is it you want to learn? What are your biggest hopes? And then I want you to imagine the next 9 minutes is really terrible. It's not just bad, it's awful. Worst 9 minutes of Zeitgeist. What went wrong? Please think a bit. Talk to 2 or 3 people. You have 15 seconds. The world's moving fast. I'll collect 2 or 3 and I will make the presentation out of your thoughts. Should we go? Go, come on, your time. Talk. Good grief. Speed up, for goodness sake. Chat, talk to each other, engage. Okay, time's up. Let's go. What hopes? What hopes have you got? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Go. Just shout. We haven't got time. Go. Inspired. You want to be inspired? Yes. Fantastic. Anything else? Reset. You want to reset your brains? I shall do my best to reset your brains. Fantastic. One more. That was stereo. Go. Solve Siri. Okay, I'll put it down. It's just a hope, huh? Okay. And yours was?
I wanted to know which of the 3 current models of consciousness is closer to the right hypothesis.
Okay, I think that's the long version. I'm doing that over lunch. Okay. Okay, great. Anything you don't want me to do? Go. We're running out of time. Be faster. Sorry? Embarrass people. Anyone in particular? Or no, I should stop now, shouldn't I? Embarrass. Okay. So, great. Let's go for that then. I guess learning, adults learning. Let me try something on you. Okay, very, very quickly. Don't shout out the answer. Just give me the next in this sequence. Okay? Don't shout out the answer. We're going to do it together so no one's embarrassed. Okay? Next one is shh. Don't say it yet. Okay? Great. You got that in your head? You ready? Then we'll shout out the answers together. Okay, so let's do it together. 1, 3, 9. And 27 and? Fantastic. It's a bit difficult and challenging. Okay. 2, 4, 16. Okay, it's not too bad. How about AEF? Oh, come on. You see, what happened is, the first one I put you up, you thought, oh, I can do that, it's easy. Then I put the second one up, and you go, oh, it's all about sums. I know that, I have to multiply stuff up. Then I put the third one up, and you go, oh my goodness, what's that? So you thought to yourself, A is probably 1, E is 5, there's a gap here of 4. Do you start doing sums? These are just capital letters with straight lines. There's no connection between them. But you see, the first 2 formatted your brains. And that's the problem with you as adults and with me as an adult. We're all formatted. We take the learning and then we extend it. Now, this might not be dangerous, except for the world which we actually live in. I don't know whether you've noticed or not, but if I take, for example, now over here, I stick 30 years in the middle, and I put over here the past. Can you imagine that? I'll do it in black. It might be easier, okay? So this is now. This is the past. Are you happy with that? And this is 30 years. And on this axis, all the stuff people have been talking about, the pace of change, the complexity, using technology, that's what's on this axis. Which is higher, now or the past? Come on, interact, go on. Now, fantastic. Okay, how are those 2 points joined together? Come on, don't be embarrassed, let's go. Straight line? Exponential. Why? Technology, more people on the planet, great. Not the interesting point. How fast? How fast are we learning and changing over that period? Now, I know many of you do things like budgets and planning and forecasting, which means that once upon a time, they must have been useful. In other words, once upon a time, you could look 1 year into the future and you could see what was coming. So your ability to learn was much higher than the pace of the change of the world around you. But what's happened to our ability to learn and change over the same 30-year period? I'm going to move the pen horizontally. If you want me to go up, shout up. If you want me to go down, shout down. And we'll get a shared view and I can publish the results. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. Action. Okay. So we have a situation where the lines cross over. And when I'm talking with audiences with a sense of humor, normally I describe this crossover point here as midnight, the point when the two lines, because I talk about, 15 years ago, it happened while you were asleep, you didn't notice. But what's really, really important about this is these two environments work to different rules. You see, if you can learn fast and the world is changing, knowledge is important. It's useful to you. It lasts a long time. If people question it, you go, why are you questioning it? It's probably still relevant. If the world's changing fast, then you can learn. Not only is it complex and ambiguous and confusing, but anything you know is probably already obsolete. Okay, I don't mean to make trouble, but it's my job. Okay, so if you want to know a little bit more about this, then what we could do is we could probably experiment a little bit. Things you can look up later. That's why we have Google, isn't it just marvelous? Okay, so in a world where you extrapolate into a world which you don't understand, what's the impact? Well, let me try and walk you through it. I meet people, strange people. You probably know some of these people. I call them time travelers. What their job is they wake up in the morning in a house with a perfectly good computer with a connection to the internet, and what do? They get dressed, get into a car, get into a train, jump on a bicycle. They travel for 36.2 minutes, if you're in the UK, in order to go to an office. In this office, they have a computer which is locked down in the 20th century. You can't download to YouTube. You can't do anything. There's no space to store your emails. So you'd imagine that the reason they've traveled all the way to these offices was so they could do something other than use a computer. Because there's a perfectly good one at home. You with me? 20th century. You think they'd be working together, whiteboarding, sitting with their colleagues, drinking coffee? No! They spend their time sending each other emails. Bizarre! And then when they send the emails, no one reads them. And then what's even funnier about it is, having done that particular thing, they then discover that the people who they want to talk to, who they'd like to get to meetings with, are in different offices. They've traveled to different offices. So they have this thing called an audio conference. My definition of audio conference is one person talking, 12 people continuing to do their emails. So eventually they say, let's say if the day ends, they have to travel back to the 21st century. They're time travelers. These are bizarre people. And in the UK, they're even doing other things like they're building more railway lines so you can do more time travel. And what's bizarre is because they're so bored on the trains, they have to take out tablets and mobile phones in order to consume content. Do you understand how mad the world is around us? We've built a multi-million-pound industry on the basis that we haven't moved to the 21st century. Look, what I'm trying to explain to you is not only is that crazy, your own organizations are also probably crazy. Most of you, even the ones who you think are really cool, probably still work in hierarchies. Do you do this funny thing with hierarchies? Where you have there's ideas, again, a little old world idea. We could learn fast and the world is changing. We put the most important person in charge. They make the decisions for everyone else. We build one of these things. Have you seen these things before? Okay? And then we build it, and it's huge. And young people come in, and where do we stick them? We stick them at the bottom. We tell them a specific lie. The lie is one day you two will be at the top. You with me? It's a lie, because they're never going to get there, because you guys are there and you're not going anywhere. But they never notice, because what happens is, next year younger people come in, because we're doing more of the same. We're doing growth. More of the same is the safest way of growing our businesses. So younger people come in, and you know how when you're on a train, and the train next to you moves, you think you're moving forward? So these young people, next year, younger people come below them. They suddenly get their own department. They go on and celebrate. They imagine they've gone up. They stay in the same place. The organization grows below them. Now, what this does is, it means you're locking people into a particular environment. Now, I'll just give you a little story. I work with one of my clients in the construction industry, and one of the things which they discovered was about 10% of the cost of a construction project is just inspections. Can you imagine that? Inspecting stuff. So one of the youngsters about here, we'll call him Bob, he came up with the idea that he'll take his iPad on site, do the inspections, photograph it, update it, solved. No, unfortunately, he bumps into somebody who discovers that that's not what they're supposed to do. Let's call him the type Bill. He's in the IT department. He complains. He doesn't complain to Bob. No, he complains to who? Bob's boss? No, to his boss. How crazy. Why? Because in this organization, they do this thing, they call it reporting lines. I don't know if you've come across this. 400-year-old idea from naval history, when the ships used to have sails. You remember that? Captain wants to move the sails so the ropes don't get tangled. He issues an order. It's noisy at sea. Nobody can hear. Lash the yard down to crew angle. First officer hears, passes it on, lash the yard, goes all the way down the chain. So the guy who does the work, he has to report back so they can move the next rope. Yardam lash, hoist the mainsail. That's it. They didn't have mobile phones. They couldn't communicate. That's why they did that reporting stuff. Anyway, these guys do it. It goes up and up and up. Each time they change the story. By the time it comes to you, it's all about bring your own device and stuff like that. So you say, no way, no way. So 2 lightning bolts come down. One zaps Bill, one zaps Bob. Do you understand what this does? It means that Bill learns he'll never show anything. He's never going to learn anything. And Bob will never try anything ever, but wait for an opportunity also to get revenge on Bob. You with me? So what happens here is you are the ones who drive the learning. You command learning and it happens. So what we used to do in business schools was we'd incarcerate people for a minimum of 3 weeks. We'd send them off. We choose them individually. We take them off into different parts of they're called business schools. We lock them up. Nowadays, we just do it with corporate universities, and the sentences are just more linear. So they're shorter, basically 3 to 5 days. So having done that to people, we then expect them to come back and learn. No. In the new world we're living in, you can't do that. You have to learn and apply at the same time. The learning isn't about the content, not what's in the professor's head. The learning is about what we create together. That's why I wanted you to talk to each other. If I've done a good job with this particular story, you will have gone through a number of things. The first, the disconfirmation. I had to convince you what I was going to say was useful. By doing that, the only way to do it was to make sure that you did something which you thought was right and was wrong, the AEFH. Then I had to make you curious by making you laugh at your own behavior, working on you're thinking, why do we use reporting lines? I'm making you curious. And then I gave you a framework. Think about your hopes and fears. Therefore, we could align large numbers of people to collaborate, to work in the same direction. You with me? And then finally, I had to make absolutely certain that you actually follow through the story. And that's why I'm making jokes. I have to give you more emotion so that this confirmation doesn't upset you. So that's what I spend my life doing, but I do it virtually. I spend my time, I built a platform called Cube, cube.cc if you're interested. But it allows us to go into an organization with all the stakeholders, so Bill, Bob, the software programmer, the client who's going to use it. You bring them all together with frameworks so they can learn new behaviors and transform their businesses. You bring the learning into the organization. And what happened to me is, having set off to try and do this, it's taken me about 20 years to build a platform which is good enough for my clients. But then we started using it on our own business, and I discovered something really amazing. My own business I thought was pretty cool, was actually pretty old world, because we were still having meetings and doing some of those behaviors. And by transforming how we learned, I then managed to do that. So I only have one request. Later this year, I'm hoping to start something called Hub Q, which will be a startup hub, which I'll put on Cube for people who are starting business, small business. I'm going to be looking for mentors. So if you get an email from me, it's because I'm looking for people, grandmothers effectively, to come and help people who are trying to start businesses. I've had a blast. I hope you found that interesting and useful. Thank you very much.